Hello there, on GPs with Kevin Magee. Today, Scotty and I are going to flush out what happened at Catalunya last race. And, well, the traction was down, the action was red hot. And, I mean, what did you make of it, Scotty? There was a fair bit of carnage going on.
Yeah, g'day, Kev. Welcome, viewers. Besides the crashes, mate, besides the crashes, Ducati strikes back, mate, with a 1-2 and a 3. Diggia wins. All the gear was second, and Bagnaia was third. Obviously, it was great to see Joan Mir get up there doing such a good job for Honda. It was just really good to see a Honda up that far. But yeah, only to have that taken away from him, it obviously just means that Bagnaia was put up to third, and so we have a Ducati 1, 2, and 3 for the first time in a long time. It had everything, but the crashes. I'll go into the final race there with Martin and Fernandez crashing. And then after that, closer to the end, you had Acosta and Aldeguer, and that's two of the top contenders right there. Martin and Acosta went out, so it's just opened the championship right up. I mean, you've got Bez now finishing down the card a bit on 140 points, and I think Martin is only 13 behind, 127, I think, and obviously Diggia up to 116, so he's about 24 behind. So he has a win there, mate, and something goes wrong with Diggia. It's open up. But in saying that, it's only the 7th round of 22 to go, so you can't really look into the future that far. But it's good to see that Aprilia aren't running away with it like they were in the first few rounds, so that's made it good to watch. But the crashes, mate, that's obviously the first thing on everybody's minds, and I was just picking on the actual outcome of that race with the top contenders falling out, mate. And now we've got the Marquez brothers out for a while. We've also got Zarco probably sitting on the sidelines for a bit. There is talk that Marquez may be back for Italy. So we'll just wait and see what happens with that, mate. But all in all, mate, I don't know whether those crashes were brain snaps on Fernandez and Aldeguer's side of things, but didn't end well with two top contender chasers, mate.
No, certainly didn't. And like you say, the championships opened up a little bit in the sense of the gap at the front, but it's closed up as far as the manufacturers go. So, and Catalunya's last race has been one of those tracks where incidents like that can happen. They've happened in the past. In 2016, there was a big one. Ian only took out then championship leader Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo wasn't interested in his apology. That was at turn 10, like right in the braking area. This one at the last race was different. That was a mechanical failure earlier on the track, and then Alex Marquez basically lost control of the bike because there's a concrete spoon drain there you can just see, and once he hit that, and it's at a bit of an angle by the look of it, it threw his bike out of whack, and he lost control, and it literally threw him off, and the rest is sort of history. So the open concrete spoon drain wasn't there. That he may well have stayed on the bike because it looked like he was going to just miss that bit of a jut out there, which wasn't there when I raced there. They'll probably put that in for the Formula One cars that spin out and need room to spin to the other side of the track. So anyway, that was what it was. But Mugello's another one, highest top speed on the calendar. And just back to Catalunya for a minute, 2018, it was Jorge Lorenzo. He'd had a couple of ordinary years on the Ducati, and he'd whinged and finally got Ducati to make all this quite odd-looking padding for the back and sides of the petrol tank, so he could knee grip the bike under braking and really stabilise it under brakes, because he was really hard to pass under brakes when he had the bike his way, like he was on the Yamaha before he jumped on the Ducati. Won the MotoGP championship 3 times, 2010, 12 and 15, all 3 on the Yamaha, so good on the Yamahas back then. And once he got on the Ducati, and then he was having a dummy spit with Ducati, and once he finally got these mouldings, you'd probably call them, that he could knee grip and lock himself in, be further back on the bike, so it was more stable under braking, less lifting of the back wheel, so he could go in harder and later.
So has it been made safer compared to previous years, like in your time, Kevy? Like when you say the difficult braking, so the cam were running the wrong way and down the hill hard on the brakes, like how is that any different to what it was when you were there, mate?
Well, that's sort of similar, but when I raced there, I think it was late 92, wasn't a Grand Prix, it was a event called Golden Handlebars or something like that. Anyway, I was on the Gauloise French team's YZR 500 two-stroke, and the obviously, and on the Michelins, which I was used to the Dunlops, so it was all fairly different and pretty ordinary result. But anyway, it was a double apex left-hander back then, and I think in some of the old videos I've watched before this, you can still see that in the background, but they've sort of moved it a bit closer to turn 9, so made the back straight a little bit shorter, so there's more room for a direct runoff under braking. And it looked like they've moved that wall where Alex Marquez crashed back a little bit for the Formula One cars to spin sort of when they come off turn 9. So I don't think that's a great idea. And you can see a concrete spoon drain there, as in water drainage, and it's not covered. And that's what brought Alex Marquez undone. I think he could have possibly stayed on the bike if he didn't hit that, because the thickness of the width of your front and back tyres on the MotoGP bikes is, the front's nearly half as wide as the rear. So when it hits like that and it's on an angle, it'll kick it one way, and it really kicked it sideways, and that's what chucked him off, I reckon. So they'd probably definitely look into that in the investigation. And well, that's really about it.
And I think they broke the top speed record around there too, Kev. I think Brad Binder had on a KTM back in 2024. I think he was 358 kilometre hour, and obviously KTM have moved the goalpost a bit with Pedro Acosta on it, and he come up with a 363, so almost 5 kilometre hour faster, mate.
Yeah, Scotty, 4.5 kilometres an hour. So the interesting thing there is we'll see how fast they are, if any faster, depending on weather. I haven't had a look at the forecast for Mugello yet. But Mugello's the fastest one on the calendar at 366.1. Polo Spargo, KTM again in charge of the top speed. And again, that was 2024. So they were obviously flying then. And all we can do is wait and see what happens at Mugello.
Mate, what do you think about Mugello, actually, with that coming up? I love the track. I love to watch the raw speed round there, mate. I mean, does it scare the shit out of you going up that straight?
Well, I've tested Nori Haga's R1 Superbike there, his world Superbike, and when you're coming over that crest and it's a blind crest and then a slow second gear corner, you're sort of kind of guessing where you're going to pull on the brakes, where your braking marker is, because you can't physically see. It's a little bit like coming over the crest at Phillip Island, but this is a lot closer to the braking area. And the rest of the track, it's really hard and a lot of downhill turn in, front end, loosey places, quite similar to Catalunya, but a much better track to ride. And as far as Mugello goes, it's not very often you say this about a racetrack, but it's simply beautiful. It's just a brilliant place and a real test of a rider, because it's plenty of up and down, and there's short, sharp sort of chicanes and fast changes of direction. So, yeah, it's a cracker of a track.
Yeah, those pine trees, mate, are beautiful through there. And of course, the Ducati fans come out in droves, mate, don't they? So it's unfortunately the two Marquez brothers are out. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Mark Marquez maybe back for that. So that'd be a great boost for them. But that'd be just really good to see maybe Diggia get up there, being Italian and on the Ducati, mate. That'd be a fantastic result for him, I think.
Yeah, he'll be trying his heart out. Best of the Ducatis at the minute in the championship, and I mean the Italians. They'll have a 7-speed gearbox at Mugello on that weekend. So they put it all on the line. They really do. And I mean, years ago when we saw Petrucci win there, that was just an amazing sight. The fans just go absolutely berserk.
Yeah, right. Mate, just going back to you were saying before about Lorenzo with the padding. I mean, doesn't that sort of encroach on the rules at all? Like as far as the rule book goes, I mean, if you're, I get on yourself, on your person. A lot of them have got those airbags and things like that in their leathers now. But I mean, for padding, isn't that a part of the bike? Like if you're putting, I mean, I guess it sounds like there was semi fairings hanging out the tank and stuff just to grip your knees and stuff. But I get the stick on, uh, barriers around the tank and stuff that were always there. But that just sounds a bit how you go, mate.
Yeah, well, it was. I guess there's no ruling for that kind of thing, and it's not really a fairing because it's not sticking out because you're covering it when you're tucked in down the straight. It's just to give you purchase of your upper leg and your knees for knee gripping when you're braking and
Mm.
throwing the thing from side to side as well. So that's what that was all about. But it's a bit like all the technical advances that mainly Ducati have come up, like with the aero and so forth over the years, that it's not there. Then when they put a wing on, then Danny Eldridge and the team at the stewards, they have to come up with a ruling on it, and then they ended up making that box where the fairing's got to fit in with all the wings and stuff on it, and it can only be a certain width and so on. So I mean, once they become innovative outside the rule book, then the rules police kind of jump on them and say you can or you can't. And the only advantage was to the rider; it wasn't like your launch control device. You're lowering your ride height and all that, which is kind of doing obvious advantages for either the top speed or the lap time.
Now, mate, the race on Sunday with Diggia taking the spoils, mate. Fantastic race. Great for Ducati. Great for the Italians, and great with Mugello coming up. That'll be great for Rossi's fans as well. They'll come out in droves out in Italy as well as Diggia's. But mate, I think he rode a really smart race. He kept himself out of trouble, stayed away from all the troubles that happened behind him. Obviously, when Martin went down, obviously that was with a fellow Aprilia rider in Fernandez, and you saw what happened after the race, or when he went back into the pits and he pushed his, which he's come out and apologised for, and I get that it's frustration, but especially from another Aprilia rider, I don't know whether there's team orders there, even though it's um, another team, but they're still. Did they come out with Aprilia orders or anything like that? And then, of course, Costa uh, getting knocked off his bike. Obviously, his tyres were going off anyway because he'd lost a couple of spots there in the last couple of laps, and out of gear. Obviously hit him, but came through and took second spot. So what I said at the start of the show there, we have two top contenders taken out with 0 points. So obviously Digi is rubbing his hands together. But what did you think of those two crashes, mate?
Yeah, there was a lot of lunacy in Catalonia because you got to remember the Spaniards. We all try hard at home. You sort of try to have that extra gear or whatever you have, but they're that passionate. The fans are just roaring their heads off in the stands for the Spanish guys, obviously, and I think the riders themselves, generally, this is being general, put a fair bit of pressure on themselves individually to perform well, and that's what makes it so satisfying for Digia. But whatever way it goes, whether it's your teammate or one of the other opponents, or your stablemate in the sense of another Aprilia rider taking you out. It really shouldn't happen, but I guess there's all different levels of desperation, and it does happen from time to time. But that's sort of the golden rule: you don't take out your teammate.
Yeah. So the race itself, mate, it settled into a nice even sort of race, and they were the only real incidents in it. So yeah, it was good to see Diggia get up. Yeah, so on the Moto2, Kevy Gonzalez, he had a great fight with Vietti, and won just by 0.2 seconds, mate. So it was a fantastic finish. They were swapping positions there for a while. Vietti led for a lot of the race, but just fantastic right down to the end. And the Guevara, what's his name? Guevara, I guess it's
Guevara.
Guevara. He's with the, is it? Yeah, he's with Pramac Yamaha. So it's good to see the Yamaha get up into the fold, mate. That was and also Quadraro finished fifth or sixth, I think, didn't he, in the MotoGP? But that was Guevara's home track, so would have been great for him anyway. And AGS mate P10, he wouldn't be happy about that because he was closing in with more and more points each week, mate. And he's had an offer from KTM to ride a full time MotoGP bike. They are good bikes, so he's going to a good stable there. I don't know whether he's going too soon. We've talked about this on the show before. I'd rather him probably stay back and do another year in Moto2. But obviously, when somebody comes a knocking, mate, and you never knock them back because they may never knock again. So I get that he's going, but yeah, it's just a bit too quick for my liking. What do you think about that, mate?
Yeah, I reckon. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I get what you're saying about Remy, but it also depends on where you go, what the bike's like, and the team around you, and the whole process of whether it's a factory or a satellite. It's probably a bit different now from when Remy crossed over.
Mm,
Um, the satellites bikes are a lot closer specification to the factory bikes now in most cases because they realise with all the limits on testing days and tyres and everything that they sort of got to do part of it over the race weekend with the satellite teams to a certain extent. And I think that's why we're seeing the performance of the satellite teams be a lot closer. And back to centre is a bigger bloke, so I reckon he's going to be one of the blokes that'll love the bigger being 850 next year, not the full blown 1,000.
mm,
I think it's a good time to go because it's all a total classification reset with the 850s and the Pirelli tyres.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's bad at all. I'm backing him on this one.
And he's coming off Pirelli tyres as well, mate. So he'll have probably a better understanding of the tyre when they go into testing.
Yeah, bit of a head start on the Pirelli, a totally different tyre to the Michelin, and same for Top Rack. So those two might be popping their heads up early on in the testing, and we'll just have to wait and see on that one. We've still got 2/3 of the season to get through, so it's going to be good. But I reckon Senna's and he's put a good team around him. That's the most important thing you can have in Grand Prix racing is level heads under the KTM umbrella.
Yeah, yeah. And now Moto3, mate. It was exciting finish right down to the final corner with Max Kules, is it? Is that how
Keyless,
you pronounce it? Kules?
Keyless.
Killers, yeah, yeah. So that was his third in a row, mate. So he's really pushing the points up for a run at his first world championship. Um,
He's talented young fella for sure, Scotty. There's no doubt about that. But any madness, and we'll see how they go, how many penalties they get by misbehaving in the practices and qualifying at Mugello, where they're all looking for a pull down the very long straight. I think it's what is it, 1,047 was Catalunya, and Mugello's longest one, 1,181, I think. Yeah,
Jeez, gosh,
1.181 kilometres.
unbelievable. And Aussie Joel Kelso, mate, he finished back in 18th. So he didn't have a good ride at all, mate. I just hope he can put himself a ride together for next year. He's like taps at the moment, mate. He's hot and cold, isn't he, Joel?
Oh, a little bit, but don't forget he's getting used to the Honda as well on the Lavity team. So coming off the KTM's in the years before that, so you've got a different beast underneath you. It's like riding a different bull if you're a bull rider, literally. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but do teams allow for that adjustment?
well, you got to allow for a certain little while, but whether you get there soon enough or not depends on what the team's opinion is. So you
Yeah,
just got to press on and do what you can do.
yeah, right, mate. No, okay,
Oh, and
so
Mugello, by the way, is 1141. So
11:41.
1141 meters for Mugello.
What speed would you be doing down there, mate, at the braking area?
366.1 if you're Polar Spargaro in 2024 on the KTM.
Oh, fair dinkum. Oh, mate, that's
So over 100
unbelievable.
meters a second.
A very exciting place to watch. But yeah, like you said, it's just a beautiful area. Like you'd be struck by the beauty even going along that straight, wouldn't you? Well, it's just a lovely place. I mean, I think Italy's beautiful all over, but to go and ride there, all their tracks are really nice. Monza was nice, so. Yeah, no, but it'll be a big weekend for the Italians, mate, and like I said, the Valentino crew and Diggia, mate. I think he's has his best chance of getting two in a row. Diggia. So anyway, we'll wait and see, but I'm looking forward to that, mate. So
Yeah,
we'll
it'll be a hard fight. Whatever way it goes, it'll be a hard fight.
yeah, World Superbike after round five, Bulliger leads. He's on 186 points. Uh, to Lucona on 117 points. Did I pronounce that one right, Kevy? Lucona?
Lecuona. Lecuona.
Luciana.
Lecuona.
Anyway, so that's 15 wins for Bulliga and 17 consecutive wins. Oh, sorry, 17 consecutive podiums. So that's a really great tally to have, mate. But like I said, we're a long way off going to the finals anyway. We moved to Aragon on the 29th, 31st, which should be this weekend coming up. So what did you think of that track, Aragon? Did you ever get the ride around there?
No, I didn't ride around there, but another long Spanish one, a lot of left-handers, and tricky bits to it as well. So the Spanish generally get those weaved into the track somewhere, and a tricky place, but an exciting place to ride with a pretty spectacular last corner. That long left-hander around onto the front straight, and the finish line's there pretty early, so there's no real chance to draft to the line.
Yeah, right. So, mate, we'll go over to motocross, and the last race was in France. They have the two races a day. And in race one, Lewis Conan, he's the Belgian rider on a KTM. He finished first. Jeff Hurlings, he's the Dutch rider on a Honda, second. Tim Gage, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's from Slovenia, and he was on the Yamaha. And then they went to race two. Jeff Hurlings took the lead back on the Honda, and Lucas Conan, he finished second on the KTM, and Ronan Favre, he's a French rider on the Kawasaki. He's actually the current world champion, mate. So the standings go as they go into round seven. Lucas Conan leads on 286 points, and Hurlings is on the 284 points, with Favre, the world champion, on 231. So it's round 7 of 20 rounds. So they've got a fair bit to go. The Speedway Grand Prix was run in Prague, Czechoslovakia. And the Danish star, Leon Madsen, won a very, very close final to our Brady Kurtz, Australian Brady Kurtz. He just pipped him across the line like it was, it was a hair in it. And third went to the reigning world champion, six-time world champion, was Bardos Smarslik. And now we move on to the double header in Manchester. They have it on the 5th and 6th of June. They had it last year. It was just a fantastic event. It's one of my favourites as far as the Speedway Grand Prix go now. Hopefully the rain doesn't spoil it, because it does rain a fair bit up there in Manchester. But hopefully we can get away with that, because it is the fastest and most spectacular track to watch Speedway on. So that's Track Yak. We'll move away, and we'll have a break, and we'll be back with more of GPs with Kevin Magee. Okay, so we'll go to the all-important predictions. On my side, I've gone for Diggia in first place. I just think it's his time in Italy. He's an Italian on an Italian bike. That's his. But then you think about that straight and the speeds that they get up to, and I think the Aprilias are on that. They'll do that all day. So obviously Pasecki in second and Martin third. So yeah, they're my picks for Mugello, mate.
Righto. Well, I reckon Jorge Martin on the Aprilia. The Aprilia is going to be really nice bike around the back. And I reckon Morbidelli, I reckon, might have an absolute cracker of a weekend. He's a funny fellow. He's like a bit of a slow burner to me, and I reckon he just might pull one out of the hat at home for the VR46 team. And Bagnaia on the Ducati, the factory Ducati, I think he'll get enough of his stuff together to put it on the podium in front of the home crowd.
Oh, that's good, mate. So, mate, just on Bagnaia, mate, him going to Aprilia, new start. You think he was a bit stale at Ducati? He'd won a world championship there. Marquez steps in. He obviously, is out of joint a bit. He just really hasn't done anything since Marquez did step back in. Is it a new start for him? Was this behind the backs of anybody? I don't think so. I think everybody knew that he wanted out. But what's your take on that, mate?
Yeah, well, if you're getting the results, the bike direction of development tends to follow you if you're the fastest guy on it. And Marquez, could ride a wheelbarrow if you like. So I think the thing is the development's gone away from the way Bagnaia had it, where he's all front end and that, and nothing wrong with that. And he hasn't been able to get that front end feel this year, apart from on a good day. And he's just decided to opt out and go to what looks like a better bike anyway. And it's still Italian, so he's happy camper, only moving, to the different stable, still within the Italian borders.
Yeah, righto. Okay. All right. Well, that's about the show today, folks. I'm just on something I'd like to touch on, and I just think there's a lot of good characters at the moment in MotoGP. Some funny blokes, some not so funny blokes, and I think the time's right now to have a Ride to Survive documentary, much like the Drive to Survive hit that Formula One did. If anybody wants to comment on that, just write your feelings down with Facebook or Instagram, and let us know whether that should be a thing that MotoGP should be pushing forward. Anyway, that's it from me today, and Kevy. Kevy, I'll see you next week, mate, and have a good week, mate, and have a good time laying on the lounge watching Mugello, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Scotty. And I'm sure it'll be a cracking lot of races over there at Mugello. And that's it for now on GPs with Kevin Magee. Thank you.